All right, welcome to the Why Not podcast. Man, I'm very excited to get this project started. I'm your host, Nathan Harris, and man, I know I already said it in the first 5 seconds, but I'm going to say it again. I'm so excited to get this project off the ground and going for you guys. This has been something that I've been trying to develop for a couple of months, but really just being able to dive into it and get everything going is something that I'm very excited about. So thank you everyone, first of all, just for listening, for supporting this. I'm very excited to see where this goes, and I'm very excited to see where this project, like what direction the project is headed into, because I think that you could take this a lot of different ways, but I'm very excited to see the path that we take with it. And I just wanted to have this first episode as kind of an explanation for why. Because although ironically the name of the podcast is the Why Not podcast, I believe that there is a little bit of an explanation for the name and just everything about this. So the question of why not is something that I've started to live my life by over the past couple years. It is a question that I've taken on as like a question of opportunity, where if someone presents me with something or someone says, hey, I have an opportunity for you, right? I have a chance for you to try something out. I have a chance for you to do something. And even if it's coming at a risk of potentially losing something else, or a risk of maybe losing something that I have been going after for a while, it's all about asking the question of why not and being able to truly just take on the opportunities that are in front of you. Because fact of the matter is that every single person, right, has opportunities in front of them. They always have different things that they can do, different things that they can try. They have different skills that they're good at and different things that they're not so good at. But it's less about what you're naturally gifted at and more about learning to step into those natural gifts in the first place. Because everyone has natural gifts. Everyone has different things that they can tell themselves, oh, I'm very good at this and I'm very good at that. And in all honesty, I'm sure that there are a lot of skills out there that I do not have. In fact, most skills I know for a fact I do not have. But it's less about having those skills and more about taking the opportunities that come along with those skills. If you are a very good artist but you never draw, then there's no point in being a very good artist. If you're a very good singer but you never perform on stage, well then my mind, it's not so much a waste as it is more just a missed opportunity. And learning to ask the question of why not is ultimately an opportunity that I'm trying to step into every single day, because I know that it's going to give me a life that, even if it's not the greatest one possible, it's one that will, one, have a lot of lessons learned, and two, have just things that will come along with it that wouldn't otherwise, just because you learn to ask yourself the question of why not. There's so many different things that people say, oh, I want to do this, but I can't do it for this reason. And I oftentimes will sit there and ask the person, whoever I'm talking to, right? And I'll say, well, is it an opportunity that you don't want to do, or is it an opportunity that you can't possibly do? And more often than not, it's something that they don't want to do. And it's not that they don't want to do it, otherwise they wouldn't be bringing it up, because if someone brings something up to you and it becomes a point of conversation, it means that it's been on their mind. It's been something that they've been thinking about. And so being able to say, why don't you want to do this? It's them coming from a point of view that's not necessarily, oh, I don't want to do this. Rather, it's, I'm not doing it out of fear, or I'm not doing it out of the fear of consequences. Because, of course, we all know that every action has a consequence, whether it's good or bad. Every action has a consequence. And so oftentimes we get caught up in our minds about thinking about what could happen, and less about taking the actions that we can actually control in order to make things happen. And this overthinking is where oftentimes people get the most stuck. This overthinking causes people to freeze and not want to take any action upon the things that they're doing. But it's important to look at the opportunity that's around us. Like I said, every single person has different opportunities. Some may be a lot different than the person next to you, but that is totally okay. And I think that right now, just in general, from a societal standpoint, I'm talking 25,000 feet up, right? We have the most opportunity this year in the year of 2022 than we've had probably in the past decade and a half or so. And the reason that I believe this is because societal expectations are at an all-time low. Societal expectations right now, people do not expect a lot from each other just because of what's gone on the past couple of years. It's a point of empathy and a point of sympathy that a lot of people have taken on. And I'm not saying that this is true for like across the board entirely, because if it was, I feel like that a lot of people would be at a different point than they are currently. But I'm saying that from a society standpoint, the expectation for people in school right now is at an all-time low. The expectation for people to do well in their jobs is at an all-time low. There's been a thing recently called the Great Resignation that is honestly swept the nation. That was not intentionally rhymed, but that was kind of funny. But the Great Resignation has been something where tons of people have been quitting their jobs. Tons of people have been like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done with this. I'm leaving. I'm out of here. And this has been something that even corporations have taken on. Like CEOs of corporations have just left up and out of nowhere because they want to spend more time with their family, or just up and out of nowhere because they don't enjoy what they're doing anymore. And this Great Resignation just plays into the student debt that has also been canceled over the pandemic. There's been billions of dollars of student debt that has been canceled. People just having their student debt wiped out because of the pandemic. There was a law in California for a long time that people weren't having to pay rent or anything of the sort because of this pandemic, right? There's been so much that has happened over the past couple years that has made people kind of change their point of view and has made people expect very little of what's gone on in society. Now, the reason that I think is that this is such a good opportunity is because any sort of personal growth right now, any sort of progress that is taken on is seen as an amazing feat, right? Any sort of achievement that is taken on right now is seen as an amazing feat, and people are willing to now more than ever step in and say yes to things like small business, just small opportunities that are presented in front of them, because it's at a point where people are like, hey, let's try and rebuild things. Let's try and make some things happen. And so all these little new shops and businesses that are popping up are just doing super, super well because suddenly they have all of these customers that have been wanting to try something new, have been wanting to support small business, have been wanting to say yes to things for a long time, and now it's just coming to fruition. So the time of action for learning to say yes, learning to say why not, and learning to take on these opportunities is now more than ever. And this is the reason that I'm more or less hopping on this train, is I'm asking myself the question of, I'm seeing this all this opportunity around me, why not go after it myself? Why not try and take advantage of it? Because if nothing else, this is a massive pie that is literally being handed out. And if you get even a tiny thin slice of it, you're going to be doing a lot better for yourself than if you just tried to play it safe. Because safety has been something that has been preached over the past couple of years so much more, right? It's keep yourself physically safe, keep your family physically safe, keep yourself emotionally safe. The rates of depression and anxiety ever since the pandemic have started have just been skyrocketing. But this is not, unknown news. This is nothing new. But it just speaks to the fact that people need to not only be keeping themselves constantly going after something, but they need to be taking on opportunities that they wouldn't have before. I think that part of the reason the pandemic has created such a spike in the mental illnesses that we see is not only have people been cut off from their community, have been cut off from other people, which in my mind, we're built in order to be with other people. We're built to see and exist and build community with other people. But I think it also plays into that all of the opportunities and all of the things that people have been trying to go after have just been completely wiped out, have been completely shut down. And now that things are starting to open back up, it is such an opportunity to be able to see just this roar back of what's been happening. And I think that over the next couple of years, you're going to see some major growth in small business and that kind of thing. And just learning to ask the question of why not has been something that I've been trying to do throughout this pandemic. And it's been something that I've been trying to do just in every aspect of life, because I think that it's very important to take on whatever is in front of you. To just take it on and say, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to go after this. Even if it's difficult, even if it's hard, even if it's something that you, at the time, you don't want to do. Because there's been a lot with this pandemic that I really haven't wanted to do. There's been a lot of things that I've been like, do I really have to do this? Do I really have to play into this? And sometimes, honestly, you don't. Sometimes you just can be like, nah, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done. That's me with college. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to college because I believe that there's a lot of different ways to go about life in 2022, and college is one of the least effective ways to do that. But that's a whole other topic for a whole other time. Regardless, I think just overall, life is at a point where you can say yes to a lot more than you could before. And saying yes to those opportunities and saying yes to the things in front of you is going to give you a new perspective and a whole different mindset than you had before. Because if you pursue opportunity and not so much security, it gives you a whole other perspective. And I'm not saying that this is for everyone either. If you're perfectly satisfied with going after the simple things in life, with going after the things of just security and that kind of stuff, all power to you, because I believe that everyone should be living the life that they truly want to live. And if that's how you truly want to live it, I'm never going to diss you for that. If nothing else, I will be the one that is hyping you up the most, and I will be the one that is in your corner saying, yes, you go after this, you do what you want to do. But for those that are saying, no, I want to try and risk some things, take some opportunities, and learn to try and say yes, I think just trying to ask the question of why not is ultimately what gives that chance. And so why not are just two simple words that I honestly believe can change a life. And what comes along with that is just the mindset that a lot more is possible than first believed. And this is something that I'm going to be trying to push for pretty much all of these episodes, that there are things out there that make everything that you guys want to do in life seem a lot more possible than it was before. And that's part of the reason that I'm doing this as well, is I'm not only asking myself the question of why not, but I'm trying to encourage people to also do the same with whatever they want to do and whatever they want to go after. So overall, I'm very excited to see where this podcast is going to go. I'm going to leave this as a bit of a shorter episode that I'm going to be leaving with the others, just because it's kind of an introduction and it's just kind of a, this is my first time doing anything like this. I don't really know what I'm doing, and I'm having fun with it, and I think that's honestly what it's all about. So I'm gonna be leaving this episode a bit shorter than I'm leaving the other ones, but regardless, I'm very excited to see where this project goes, and I'm very excited to see what opportunities we can take along with this. If anyone wants to be featured, hit me up. We'll make some things work. We'll make some things happen. But yeah, regardless, I'm very excited to see what happens with this. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.